Hello and welcome to Property Money Trees Maximising Property Values, the once a month show where I break down the steps of how to recognise, enhance, and then extract the values in property in order to create wealth. Would you like to find out how you can benefit from the steps of maximising property values? This is even if you don't own a property yet or have a deposit. If that's a yes, then you're in the right place to find out. My name is Patricia Ogunfaber, and although many know me for my work as a solicitor, on this show you will be getting the benefit of my 30 plus years worth of experience of maximising property values, experience which has given me a net worth in millions. So who might benefit from listening to this show? Literally anyone with an interest in creating property wealth. So welcome back. And a happy new year to everyone. I hope this year is going to be an amazing year for all of us and a better year than 2024 and hopefully one of the best years that we've ever had. Now, to get right onto it, so I've written a book about the Renters' Rights Bill, which is soon going to become the Renters' Rights Act, and it will be the Renters' Rights Act of 2025. So I've written a book about the bill, so it's not yet law, but most of it will be law, and I will keep people updated. But there are certain things that landlords should be doing right now before the bill actually becomes law. And that is precisely why I've written the book, because then it will help people get themselves ready, get themselves prepared so that they're not actually, being caught on the back foot when this law comes into place. And the name of my book is Be Prepared. Be prepared. So if you've already bought the book, thank you very much. The book is not free. It is at £2.50, but everything that Amazon pays to me is going to go to my favourite charity, Centrepoint, and Centrepoint is a youth homelessness charity. So please do buy the book if you haven't already bought it, and please do support Centrepoint. Even if you decide not to buy the book, because what they do is simply amazing. They do great work. Young people who really are still trying to navigate being, an adult. Some of them are adolescents, and they're struggling. So when they're also homeless, it makes them extra vulnerable, and their lives probably could be in danger. And this particular charity actually helps them overcome some of those difficulties. Anyway, so that's that. So this particular episode is actually starting to read the book. So I'm only going to do, just a few bits, perhaps every month, and then I'll see how we go. So, disclaimer. No portion of this book may be reproduced in any form without my written permission. The content of this book is for informational purposes only and is not intended to be a source of advice and does not constitute legal or financial advice, and should never be used without first consulting with an expert professional to determine what may be best for your individual needs. While I have used my best efforts in preparing this book, I make no representations or warranties with respect to the accuracy or completeness of its contents, and specifically disclaim any implied warranties and any liability for indirect or direct losses connected with its use. Finally, this book shall be updated when required, and as such should be considered a work in progress for now. Glossary of sorts. Things to bear in mind while reading this book. Beyond reasonable doubt is a legal standard of proof in usually criminal matters. It effectively demands that there be minuscule doubt. This burden can be difficult to prove, and a lot of litigation arguments in criminal cases focus on whether a prosecutor has discharged the burden. On a balance of probabilities is another legal standard of proof. It, however, means that the person simply has to believe what is asserted. Brackets on a 51/49 basis, for example. Expert professional advice. In this book means advice from someone who has housing laws, legal and practice expertise, and also indemnity insurance, which will compensate anyone who suffers financial loss as a result of any incorrect advice that the expert may give. Joint and several liability means that the person seeking to enforce the liability would be entitled to ask either or any of the debtors to pay up to the full amount owed, but would not be able to collect more than that amount. So, if £10,000 is due on a joint and several liability basis of A and B, and A is asked to pay £10,000 and does, B cannot be asked for even £1. If in doubt, a clever creditor will therefore seek to get their money from the person who has the most money / assets. Matters to consider seriously. 1. While the issue of fines, penalties and their amounts can be challenged initially with the local housing authority and then the first tier tribunal, property chamber, and if properly advised, 2 higher courts, landlords should always consider the mental, emotional and financial toll that such challenges can present. 2. Every landlord should ensure that they use a reliable address so that they don't miss any important landlord legislation notifications. 3. While no one has to instruct lawyers, there is an old saying among lawyers to the effect that a lawyer who represents himself has a fool for a client. In other words, it isn't wise to represent yourself, no matter how qualified you are. So landlords should try to avoid self-representation if they can. So here we are for now. That is literally just the beginning of the book. The next chapter is actually introduction, which sets out why I've written the book and the kind of things that you will find in there, the colour coding and the rest of it. The reason why I wrote it was to help responsible landlords try and make sure that they can navigate what is actually coming and avoid any pitfalls. Anyway, all the very best for the new year and hopefully see you next month. Any questions about the book, if you've bought it or if you want to buy it, you're interested in it, please do reach out to me, patricia@propertymoneytree.co.uk, patricia@propertymoneytree.co.uk. But hopefully, see you next month.